I want to get you more perspectives on the situation. I'm now joined by Lawrence Ma, chairman of the Hong Kong Legal Exchange Foundation, and I have our current affairs commentator Einar Tangen joining me in the studio here in Beijing. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Lawrence, let me start with you. The police have warned the violent activities at the Polytech University have escalated to rioting, and they would consider using live bullets if protesters don't stop using lethal weapons. Now, in legal terms, Lawrence, how would this level of violence be classified now, and what's your take on that warning from police?
Well, under the current criminal law in Hong Kong, if the rioters use lethal force, then the lethal force, a level up is the reasonable response. The police cannot use excessive force. That's the law. Now, what is excessive force? Is whatever force that is reasonable in the circumstances. And then you ask the question, what is reasonable? Now, if they use lethal force, which would be able to kill, then the police will have to use a responsive lethal force to subdue them. See, the police is not in a police position to have a fight with the rioters. The police is trained and duty-bound to subdue them by using a force one level up, so that the police can not just protect themselves, but also to subdue the protesters. So if the protesters use lethal force, the police must use one level up, the lethal force one level up to stop them. Now, the current situation is the rioters are using bow and arrow. They shoot a bow and using a bow to shoot an arrow and pierce through the one of the police officer's leg and cause substantial injury. They stole about 80 kilograms of concentrated sulfuric acid from the laboratory of the university, of the Polytechnic University, and they are going to make many or thousands of acid bombs. Now, these would cause very serious injury, and they are very serious lethal force. So in this situation, it would be reasonable in law for the police to use real bullets.
Lawrence, let me stay with you for a little while here. Why did the rioters occupy the Polytechnic University? Is proximity to chemicals, as you mentioned, one of the reasons?
Well, you have to understand the design of the Polytechnic University in Hong Kong. It was just at the in a place in Kowloon. It was built in a very small compound, and there were so many buildings which were in that compound. The roads are particularly narrow, so that when police go in using those roads, the rioters would be able to ambush them from a higher position on the top of the building, to ambush them, shoot them stuff, and to throw them petrol bombs. So this is the tactical or strategic advantage of occupying the Polytechnic University. The other reason is the supplies. There's a good supply of chemicals, as I said, concentrated sulfuric acids to make acid bombs. They have what do they call it? Is gasoline tin cans, which they actually macerated the tin cans with real screws. So when it explodes, the screw will also come out and pierce through the body armors of the police officers. The Polytechnic University also has a very good and large kitchen to be able to make meals for the students. So and the rioters. So occupying Polytechnic University is a very strategic way of dealing with the situation, and very advantageous for the protesters in having the riot against police.
Einar, let me come to you now. A lot of what the protesters are thinking now is strategic. As Lawrence said just now, it has a lot to do with how they plan to deal with the police response. What's your read on the situation now? We were showing pictures of what happened overnight. It looks nothing like a place of education.
It's totally out of control. I mean, these rioters have now congregated. You have this very clear group who is willing to do anything. And it's not just bows and arrows. And if I'm throwing bricks at you, if I'm throwing gasoline bombs at you, this is deadly force, and it has to be responded to in like kind. You cannot have a society where a group of radicals decide that they want to hijack the democratic process and for their own means. This is the definition of being a terrorist, and this is what is happening.
All right, our Lawrence Ma in Hong Kong. Lawrence, thanks so much for joining us. And Einar, if you could stay with me here a bit longer in our studio. Now, the past week of unrest in Hong Kong saw protesters upgrading their weapons